Hello everybody. So I really wanted to share with you my songwriting process for The Hardest Fight. I'm going to show you some early demos and how the song came to be, really. So the first thing is to say that it was kind of written in about the springtime of 2019, so a little while ago, and there's two emerging singer-songwriters that I was really into at that time and still I'm a big fan of, and those were Sam Fender and Lewis Capaldi, and they're kind of interesting artists because they're slightly different sides of the same coin, in that Lewis Capaldi's kind of quite poppy and gone for a real pop thing, and Sam Fender went for a slightly more indie, kind of vibe. So I like the way that that's kind of my influence is pop music, but also sort of bands and stuff. So they were a good blend of, I thought they were a good combination really. As I'm sure you can deduce, the song is a sort of breakup song, and it's sort of reflecting on a relationship. But it's really, I've as songwriters always do, pondering breakups is like the the bread, if you will, of songwriting. A lot of time, it's such a well thought through topic. At university, I learned about this model of sort of our behaviours, where you break down our behaviours into our actual physical behaviours, what we do, how we feel, our emotions, and then also what we think, right? And there's a sort of triangle model, how these three factors all interlink. And there's this great term called cognitive dissonance, which is when what we feel is different to what we think. And I think that's for me where this song comes from. It's trying to take a slightly different view on a breakup. It's basically saying, I know I shouldn't keep in touch. I've got to walk away. It's the best thing to do. That's what you're thinking, and that's what your behaviours are. But the reality is that your feelings are actually that you still care for that person. I planned my first trip to go to Nashville in that spring last year. So I think I'd never really thought of myself as an Americana artist. Like, I still don't. And when people say country music, I still think of, there's this kind of like slightly, cliched, sarcastic idea of people singing about beer and tractors, which, don't get me wrong, there is definitely in country music. But there's definitely a side to country music that I've really learned to appreciate, where there's this really kind of art of storytelling and explaining a story really well. And so I definitely recognise that I do really like that, and I'm not afraid to say that there's definitely a sort of... When you look at Taylor Swift, she's the absolute probably number one crossover country to pop artist, as she's now really a pop artist, I suppose, but she has that country background telling a story. And so this is kind of got that kind of slight feel to it. And so I love looking at chord progressions, and some of them have different feels. But I was mentioning Taylor Swift because she's got that slight country influence to her. There's a song on her amazing album 1989 called Wildest Dreams, which actually has the same chord progressions that I use in the verse of The Hardest Fight. So she goes, say you'll remember me, standing in the white dress, looking at the sunset, babe. And if you slow those chords down, you've got, try to walk away, try to say I don't remember, then I stumble across a picture of you. So that's that kind of influence there. But to go back to the chords actually for this song, for a couple of years actually, I spent quite a lot of time trying to get experimental, and trying to do... I got really into Father John Misty for a phase, and just trying to make things all a bit sort of different, okay? And then what I realised with Lewis Capaldi, right, is that there are chord progressions in pop music that you'll hear time and time again, and you can try and stay clear of them, which can be really good and refreshing. But also you have to accept that there's a reason that people use these chord progressions, and the reason is that they make us feel things, and they're a really good set of chords to throw together. So The Hardest Fight for me was a song where I was like, right, I'm not going to try and deviate and put all these major sevenths and these minor four chords or whatever. So I wanted to I thought I'd stick with some chords that are a bit more tried and tested, really, and not be afraid of that, and just think these are good chords and we shouldn't shy away from them. So the main chords in the chorus, if we do this in C major, you've got the classic A minor to F to C to G, which you hear on so much pop music. I can think of a retro example from anyone who's been around long enough to remember 2010. You've got like Shorty's like a melody in my head that I can't keep out, got me singing now, na 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 every day. You know, that kind of pop vibe. Adele, Hello is actually that same progression. Hello from the other side. Whatever, it's very badly sung. But you get the idea. So there's big pop chords, and then I thought, why not use them for my song? So that's where those chords come from. It's just being a bit, not being afraid to go back to basics, really. I want to show you some early demos now. This will be quite fun. So yeah, okay, here we go. First time I got a recording of this was 19th of February 2019. So quite a while ago now. Check this out though. It's not the best singing in the world. Yeah, here we go. So this is the chorus of The Hardest Fight. First thing I wrote. It's got this quite folky feel to it. Okay, so that is Blast from the Past. Fast forward a couple of months, so 2nd of April 2019, we've got something resembling the verse. So actually, yeah, the chorus was written first, then we got the verse in April of 2019. This is the verse of The Hardest Fight in April 2019.
And they say that I should kiss her, but I know you kiss him too. And I know that when I miss you, you'll be finding someone new. And then that rush comes down, it's the hardest fight, you know.
There you have it. So slightly slower version there, and it's starting to cement in shape. The next phase was, I performed it live, I think for the first time actually. I might have done it at some open mics, back when open mics existed. But I did a gig, some of you may have been there, Miles Horn and Friends at the Harrison pub, and that was really when I kind of debuted this track. And again, you'll hear the version here. It's quite a very upbeat 4-on-4 kind of thing.
And then that rush comes down, it's the hardest fight. 'Cause I know that I still love you, but I know that we were right. Feel that rush come down as my heart takes flight.
And that's kind of it really. Those are the couple of months where that song was formed, that spring of 2019. And yeah, it's taken me till you know, recently to release this track, but I'm going to do another video and I'm going to explain the sort of production process, so how we went from kind of having a roughly finished song at this point in April to getting it to where it was when we released it. So check that video out soon, and yeah, I'll see you guys soon.